All right, I'm recording now, so, you know, don't ask questions anymore. Uh, this is CSCI 3, Introduction to Web Programming Using JavaScript, first section, Wednesday, 5:30, whatever. My name is Jason Clevenger, and I'm a senior software engineer here at Harvard. I use JavaScript every day, basically. But, you know, I'm not perfect. I don't know it all, so I will make lots of mistakes. This section, I don't know. Usually sections are comprised of people asking questions and me fumbling for answers. I thought I could go through a few things first, and then maybe go through the homework assignment. Has everybody here, you know, have you kept up with all the what there is to read and what there is to see for Larry's part of it? No? It's honest? That's good. Do you know that there's an assignment due on Monday or Tuesday or whenever it's due? And have you looked at it? Have you all done the Piazza thing, introducing yourself? Nobody's going to look at that. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No. We read them, but, you know, I responded to like 3 out of, 200 and some, so... So there was that, and then there's the JS Fiddle stuff. Have you all looked at JS Fiddle? You've all played a little bit with it. That's what I use mostly in this section for teaching. My style is usually I'll take the homework assignment and then I'll do something similar to it in JS Fiddle, and basically, if you're paying attention, you'll see exactly how to do the homework. Have you all downloaded an IDE? Something to do HTML, CSS, and JavaScript in?
Doing that actually before I came. What would you recommend? One of the guys suggested you trying it in Eclipse.
Don't do Eclipse.
Okay.
That's...
Who's a Mac user who doesn't?
Yeah, I mean Eclipse is very good. It's just very very heavy, and it's more for, I don't want to say more complex stuff, but it's great for Java projects. It's not really suited for this class very well. It would have a lot of overhead, a lot of extra functions that you wouldn't ever need, ever. Are you a Mac user?
No.
You're okay. Then I guess Sublime. I think. I mean, I'm a Mac user, so I haven't had to use a PC in a while for actual work. But I know Sublime is very good. How about everyone else? This is a packed class, by the way. I mean, wall to wall. There's probably I can't even count how many people there are here. How about you guys?
I'm deciding for JS Fiddle right now.
That's good.
Yeah, so I use JS Fiddle, and then I just did the browser tools for front.
Okay, so you don't have an IDE yet?
No.
Okay. Are you? It's Windows. Windows. Yeah, I recommend Sublime. Just, I believe it's free. I'm pretty sure it's free. So, this is kind of a get to know you class. There's only that one assignment due. We can go through that, or I can set up a quick project and show you how that's sort of done, assuming I can do it in this resolution. I didn't quite plan for the fact that when I'm projecting the screen, it has shrunk the resolution, so I don't have a lot of real estate to do much here. But that's how it was last year, and somehow I made it through, so we will try. Oh, geez, that is mashed. All right. So let's take a look at assignment, I guess. Or, I don't know. Let's create a really simple application. I'm using WebStorm, which is a little heavier of an IDE. I don't really recommend it for this class, but I'm going to use it anyway because it's fine. They're all basically the same as long as they have a nice directory structure on the side so that you can see what you're working on and a tabbed list of files that you have open. That's really the biggest thing. So I have this project, I'm calling it simple. I just gave it an index.html. So now if I go to Finder, simple, if I just open that up, it's nothing because there's nothing in it. If I do just some text and nothing else, it'll show that text. That's not really an HTML file. That's just it's showing text. That is the simplest HTML file. That's really all you need. You don't really need a head, but you do need a body. And it looks identical because there's really no difference, but if you look at the page source, you'll see that's what it is. Have you guys used HTML before? Have you used CSS before? Have you? What's the skill level?
I did the intro stuff, and that's my basic experience with pretty simple computers. So.
Okay. So a div is a division, and it's the most simple container of anything in HTML. Most things are derived from a div. There's also a P tag, which is very similar to a div, except it's got a few native spacing things along with it. So there will be a little bit more padding around the character in most cases. Is that true, or am I just full of it? Maybe. I'm going to put a border on both of these. So you see they're essentially the same. I put a border around them to show sort of where they are. You can also use the web developer tools that he showed in the lecture that he did. He turned on like division borders, but this is how you could do it otherwise. Let's do a little script. Why not? So this is the simplest thing I can think of for, there's probably much simpler stuff, but this is something that you'll have to know pretty quickly. Document.getElementById, ASDF. Nothing has an ID of ASDF, so I'm going to give that an ID of ASDF. You might be able to find a seat over, yeah.
Yeah, it's better from the window. So crowded. We didn't come in now. It's hard to get in.
So can you guess what this does?
Pop-up box that says ASDF. And you click on the div.
Yeah, when I click on this div, it'll do this function. So what does this function do? Do you know what that does?
Pop-up box,
Yeah.
Sorry, did you say it?
pop-up box.
And it didn't do it.
Or second room.
Awesome. All right. Get element by ID, ASDF. Yeah. I probably need to put this at the end because I'm being silly. Yeah. So, do you know why that didn't work? That's a great great thing that I planned on purpose. I had the script up here in the head. I had it right here, and it didn't work. It said that document.getElementById ASDF was null, but it did work down here. Can you guess why that is? It didn't work before the div, but it worked after the div. Because this script was looking for the div, as the page was loading, and it didn't find it.
I'm sorry, I don't understand. You had that script up above the div and
Yes.
it didn't load yet?
I had it-
because I see your div with the div in first.
I had it up here. And it was saying document.getElement by ID ASDF was null. It said it wasn't defined yet. So it said that because at the time that this script ran, that div didn't exist. So it was trying to assign on click to that div, which wasn't there yet. That's actually, I don't know, that'll probably come up next week or the week after in something.
Can I ask a really basic question?
Sure.
I'm really kind of green. And so when I went in to do that first exercise, I loaded all the software I'm supposed to use, developer tools, all that stuff. And then I was reading the exercise and I thought, I'm missing something because I'm not understanding the interplay between all the different elements. So when I go to work on it, I think, how do I get them to talk to each other? I'm just not seeing how it all plays together and what exactly I'm supposed to be doing.
Do you get this so far?
That I get so far, yes.
Okay.
Because this is just HTML, right? And so
Well, this is CSS right here in the style,
yeah.
and then this is JavaScript here in the script.
Oh, right.
So this is all inline, which is bad practice for the most part, but
Yeah.
it's good for right now.
Because usually you're making a call to a file, right, to get to the CSS.
Yes.
Into the JavaScript,
Yes.
Right?
So let's do that. Let's separate these out into separate files. I'm going to create a new directory called CSS, and I create a new file. I'll call it main. Just going to take that, put it in here. And then I'm going to show you that I don't actually know the markup for this. Link, I think.
Yes, just do it.
No, rel is, geez.
Don't you, it's three different things, or do you not always have to do that?
I always have to look it up, so I expect everyone else to have to look it up too. There it is, yeah, rel style sheet href. Yeah. That's what it is. Great. All right, so do you get what that does?
Mm-hmm.
That's going to call in this main style sheet. And then my div should still have a border if this is right, and it does. If I change something in here, like add a background color of yellow, background color, save it, and now it's a yellow div. So does that part make sense?
Yes.
Do you understand do we get the idea that this is a class?
Yes.
And if I do that, do you understand what the hashtag is? Let's see. font style maybe. Or actually, you know what, I could put a border around ASDF. No, ASDF is the div, so that wouldn't work. Now we'll separate out the JavaScript.
So whenever you want to separate out anything, you're creating a web page, you're going to have a different directory for CSS, for JavaScript.
That's a usual convention, yeah. There's usually a different directory for the CSS, the JavaScript, and the images. That's a normal convention. And then those are broken down often into different things. The JavaScript can get very complicated. We'll call this main 2 because I'm not original. All right, so I'm going to cheat. If I can. I would probably put it at the bottom. Yeah.
So you use the same kind of link to JavaScript. So you're using basically the same kind of link language to just link the JavaScript directory to
Yeah, I mean, the CSS uses a link tag and the JavaScript uses a script tag, but the script tag can be used to either import a file or write actual script.
In general, are you supposed to put scripts last? So you avoid that problem of not finding
For this class, yeah. Yeah. So that's including the JavaScript file. What else?
So now, this is how basic I need is that you're in the editor now, right?
Mm-hmm.
To start writing the code. And now there's the tools that are, so I have Chrome open and I have
Yes.
Firefox open. And I have the tools in Chrome and then I have the Firebug in Firefox. And so for this assignment,
Well, you shouldn't need but one. Right.
I only picked one of those. Okay.
Yeah, you don't need to do it in both Firefox and Chrome.
Alright, that's my problem. I'm thinking, I'm not getting how these are supposed to work together. They're two different browsers. So you pick one.
It's one or the other. Yeah, it's a personal choice usually.
Oh, okay. So that makes it much easier then. Alright, I get it. And then there was one other thing. It's that I have this and I'm actually not in a browser when I'm using this, but I'm using this to.
Right. This is to actually edit the files that are on your file system. And do you use a Mac or a PC? Come on. Nobody's working with me here.
What would you recommend? I have a text wrangler. It looks pretty different than this. It's much more simple. I'm wondering text wrangler. Text wrangler is what was suggested. Is that what we should?
That's fine too. Yeah, I've heard of that. That's good. Yeah.
But it doesn't
Basically,
have this tab structure, which looks like it would be.
The things that I usually look for are this tab thing. This is really useful to have to be able to see what you have open and to be able to switch between them quickly, and then also to see the structure of your project. That's what I usually look for in an editor.
Would you be able to suggest something that's similar to that? Similar to, like text wrangler, but similar to that.
I know Sublime does that.
Sublime.
Yeah.
That's one that you recommend for PCs
Yeah.
also, right?
Yes. Yeah.
But when do you use single quotes and when do you use double quotes?
Whenever you feel like. Oh, I'm totally messing. Yeah, yeah. Look at that. That's great. Um, it usually doesn't matter. It usually only matters in this case if you have quotes inside of quotes, but none of these are going to, so it makes no difference. I think I have a tendency to use single quotes for IDs, but there's no reason for that whatsoever.
And it makes no difference now.
Right. I can put double quotes here. It won't matter. I think double quotes are better when you're in HTML just to keep it easier.
When does it become important to divide those up into the different tabs versus dumping it all in the index section?
When, yeah, I don't know. It depends. It's different for everybody. When you're getting close, when it gets too complicated to have in one file, that's I guess the best answer.
And then the other thing was, now I can't think of the name, the thing that you split out that you were gonna use to share. And that really is that,
Oh, the JS Fiddle?
yes, JS Fiddle.
Yeah.
So then how does that interact with the text editor? How do you get it to, this is the one where you have to put the, let me see.
Right. Let me see what the question was before I answer it.
You could choose separate assignments.
Let me reread what the question was before I give you the answer to the homework. I don't know.
I did the fork and modified JS Fiddle, so I get that one. It was the assignment for actually before then.
Oh, I know. It was on. Do I not have it open anymore? I probably don't. In here, down at the bottom.
This one. I just got
Yeah.
hung up in it when I started doing it. I thought, I don't really know what I'm doing. I couldn't figure out what I was supposed to do.
Well, I mean, you see this little simple project that I just did, where you have the HTML here in this file, and you have the JS in the JS file, and the CSS in the CSS file. On JS Fiddle, you've got 4 windows here, right? You've got one window for the HTML, one window for the CSS, one window for the JS, and one window that just gives you the output of all of them. So
I get that. It's how do I get that little project you did into this?
oh, you want to go that way?
From the text editor.
Sure.
How do I put it into JS Fiddle?
How do I make a new one? Yes. So I just pasted in the CSS from there into that, going into the JavaScript, copying, pasting into that, going into the index, copying that, pasting into that.
So you write the code
And
in
it doesn't
your
like
editor,
that.
and then you copy and paste into this so that you can share it. Because then you get a URL and you say that in this extended URL, people never just go in.
This is really hard. Sorry.
You write it in the editor, you copy and paste to the JS Fiddle, and then when you save it, you get a URL and you can send it to your classmates.
Yes. Yeah. So this doesn't. I don't know if I can move that. There we go. It doesn't like you to have all the extra tags in it. So, you think this will work?
Sorry, can you go back to the original one you got it from? It looks like you checked it.
Yeah, I chucked all of that, which is basically just
I'm
the
referring to those.
style sheet, and then I chucked all of this, which is just the JavaScript.
But you leave that in the code, but you need it in the code, you still need it in JS Fiddle.
Yeah, I don't need it in JS Fiddle because JS Fiddle provides that, really. they're doing all that for you. This is going to be.
Looks like the color codes and everything else in place, what? Could this not be used as an editor? Could this be used as an editor?
To a certain degree, but at a certain point you're going to want it somewhere else, right? You're going to want to be running it somewhere else. Yeah. This is really good for small, contained projects.
And you could take pieces of code, right, and put it into work on sections of things, is that true? Or does it not work that way?
How do you mean?
Like, so say that you were working on a bigger project and you wanted to take a section of it and share it, can you do that, or does it not work like that? You always have a whole,
In JS Fiddle,
yeah,
you just want to use a section of it.
of your code.
So if you just had a question on one portion of the piece you're working on, could you put that in with your other two elements, your other two sheets, and then save that off to ask questions versus copying in everything that was within the file?
Yeah, I think so. That seems like it would work. That's how you probably should do it.
So then that project, that part A of the project, can we just kind of look at that? And I just
Yeah.
feel like when I went to follow the instructions, I was missing something that I know must be really basic, but I'm missing it.
You want to go through the whole thing?
Yeah, if we could just go step
Sure.
by step, that'd be really useful. Does anyone mind if we do that? 'Cause I'm really
I was planning on doing that anyway. So, examine the package. Let's look at the package. It is a part A, a part B, which is empty, and a README.
So part A, you're starting with part A and then stepping to part B afterwards, will it lead you to that? Is that the deal? 'Cause
I'm
since
not
it's
sure
starting
yet.
with part A,
Let me see the actual assignment.
which is in the README file, actually.
Oh, is it also in the README? That would be helpful. Also.
The instructions are in the readme, but they take you directly to.
So that, I guess, part A, right?
Yeah, okay, so where does it talk about part B?
Sounds like it's right.
That's the thing, I wasn't sure, but I also got stuck in part A, so I might have missed it.
Oh, task 6, okay. So the last part where you're taking something from the JS Fiddle and putting it into a project, that's what goes in part B. Yeah. So examine the package. The package is an empty part B, a part A, which has an HTML file, JS file, an image, and a CSS file. Does all of that make sense?
It does, yeah, so that part I got. So now, it says, the part where it says find and fix the bugs, I thought, so do you just
Okay.
look at the HTML file and then look at like Firebug and see what the bugs are, is that the deal?
You want to open it in an IDE, in an editor, like Sublime or Text Wrangler, you were saying? You could open it in that, and that'll look like this for the HTML. And it looks like a lot, but
Well, so we're not supposed to be using it to debug, we're supposed to just find them ourselves, that's the idea, right? That we figure out what's wrong?
well, I mean, you can use the debugger to figure out what's wrong with at least the first one, right?
The
Like-
debugger will just run and stop when it's there.
Yeah.
It's a general concept.
So this is hi. This is the first of 3 messages, and then nothing happens. So if we open up the console, It says uncaught reference error, alert is not defined. So, I mean, you'll want to go into the JS file and figure out why that's not defined. And then the second one sort of works but not, right? It's the one where it's supposed to add all three numbers, but it clearly doesn't.
So, you know, I know what I'm gonna check from, because in bug number one, it said click on the box, and there was no way to click it. That was missing. So I thought, is that supposed to be missing? Is that a bug? And then why would
The
it
click
be
me
missing?
box was missing?
It was missing. That was the problem that I ran into. That's why I got confused. So now I'm thinking that I'm doing it right, but something was wrong with my file.
It could be, did you not extract the zip completely? Are you sure you didn't go into the zip and then click on the file within the zip file?
Maybe I did.
Make sure that I know this happens a lot with people where who are using PCs where they don't actually extract the zip.
Yeah.
They actually, because Windows will let you go into the zip and see what's in there and then open files from within it. And if you're doing that, it probably didn't pick up the JS or the CSS file.
No, it did. Actually, I have them.
Well, I mean,
Oh,
it didn't process them within the HTML. Yeah,
So maybe it didn't realize that I was doing it.
it could be. So that's bug one. Bug two is it's supposed to add all three numbers, but it doesn't. You can look at the is that not going all the way to the bottom? It's not going all the way to the bottom. I don't know why.
Oh, is that counting the lines? Did you scroll up?
I don't know. Okay, now it's going to the bottom. Great. I don't know why that happened. But yeah, so
So it's missing that.
this is the code for that, where it's getting the value of the first one, it's getting the value of the second one, it's getting the value of the third one. And then if this is a tricky one, I guess. If the value of the first one, which is a string, because you're inputting it in an input box, so we're turning that string into an integer with parseInt, which is a number. So it wants to make sure if this number exists. So if it's an actual number, basically, then val1 is the integer value of val1. If it doesn't exist, then val1 is 0.
So why wouldn't we just capture that as a number in the first place?
What?
Why do we need to capture that as anything other than an integer?
Because it's a string, and if it has no value, if you enter it with no value, it'll have a value of
0, so that the 3 will add up. Is that it? Instead of
it'll have that as a string value if there's
Yes,
nothing.
right, I get that. But what I'm questioning is there no way to define it as an integer versus a string?
This sort of is the way to do it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is that because if you put in the letter A or left it blank, then it would be no value to add and wouldn't know what to do with it? Is that it, or does that?
Right. Yeah.
So it's got to be 0 or.
If it's that parseInt A is equal to I'm going to say null, probably, because it's not a number. Actually, you know what? It's probably equal to nan, which is not a number, which is also null, which means that'll be false. This statement, I hate that it's in the first assignment, because I don't like the question mark colon syntax to be the first thing you guys see. This is the same thing as saying if %, val1
So this is HTML and you're using those parentheses.
This is JavaScript. What I'm doing right. I'm in the project1.javascript file, and this statement here, val1 equals blah question mark blah colon 0, is the same as this statement here, which might make more sense to you.
So now you're putting JavaScript in this file. Because it's listed in line. They're on separate files, but there are separate files, right?
This is a separate file, yeah.
This is the JavaScript file.
This is the JavaScript file for the homework that you will be looking at.
And the double equal sign?
Oh, that's, don't worry about that.
It disappeared.
I deleted it, yeah.
It's gone through our memory or something?
I was just telling you that that's what that would equal,
Right.
which would be false,
But if we wanted to
which
set
is equal
something
to
as a null,
false.
so if we wanted to set something as a null, you use a double equal?
No, a double equal is telling you that it is equal to, and equal is an assignment operator, which means that you're telling it to make that value equal to that. Like here, I'm setting the value of val1 to parseInt.
So like defining the
If I did a double equals here, it would return, this statement would probably return false, and then, or actually it might return true, but that doesn't mean anything in this context. It would just be a false on a line, which has no use outside of an if statement. This,
So I see the mistake on this one.
all right, so let's move on to, what was that part? Okay. Adding your name. That's up here at the top, right after the head, as soon as the body starts. You just create your own div tag, give it a border, give it a background color, make it big so that we can see it, because when we're grading these, we'll be opening them up and it's nice to see that your name is there.
Look, you have to wow you guys, I get it. Make your life exciting. We can do that. Go for Flash, yeah.
And then convert a JS fiddle example into local code and submit it. That one we sort of talked about already.
I'm sorry, what did you say, local code?
Right, local code. Where did I say that? Yeah, convert the JS fiddle example into local code and submit the project. So turning into this simple thing that I had earlier.
So then what we're doing is we're going to take the JS fiddle and just copy and paste it into the editor, is that it?
More or less, yeah. You'll have to add some things like HTML and head. And I did this really poorly. Depending on your grader, they might take off if you don't have a doc type HTML at the top. They might take off, I don't know. They might take off if you don't have a title.
So is there an editor, like the Code Academy editor,
Kind of.
This cheat sheets.
There's, I mean,
It's like a validator, right?
yeah, there's the validator. I haven't used it in a while. Validator W3. So validate by direct input. I can take this. I'm gonna take out the title, and I'm gonna take out the doc type, and I'm gonna submit this as is. So 2 errors. What are the errors? No doc type found. Yeah. No character encoding declared. Yeah.
Well, the other thing you could do though is go to like Code Academy, that HTML course that he had for the pre-work, and just look at the very first lesson and they tell you
Right.
what that should be in the name of the file.
But it's more if you're doing something that it's like, not 2 o'clock in the morning.
Well, yeah, then
That's why I was wondering for something like that, you know what I mean?
I've been writing notes to myself. Don't forget to put this in.
Element, yeah, this is an error. I put in the doc type and it still has an error. Element head is missing a required instance of the child element title. This is a required instance, heavy on the quotation marks, because it's, I mean, not really required. It'll still run. There's nothing that'll stop it from. I mean, HTML is very forgiving. Your grader might not be.
But then when we're doing the JSPIL, we'll also be able to see our output too, right? That everything's right except that header stuff, right?
Yeah.
But I think the concern is that you may end up with the correct output and not realize you missed something silly because the HTML would be very forgiving. And then get marked down for it.
I don't think you will. I will need to check that with the other graders to see what their thoughts are on this, but that's not this class. E12 is all about getting this stuff right.
What's the name of it?
I have no idea.
With,
That's with David Heitmeyer.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was, that's what I was looking at, so that they can, they mark down, that's why.
So if you want to know, you don't want to know about HTML validation, don't worry about it. Just do what you see, and especially for this first assignment, don't worry about too much. Just go through what you were given, and for the last part, just kind of copy what you've seen already. Yeah.
Actually, this was really helpful because I do feel like more comfortable. If he wasn't going, I know I'll be fine, but this first assignment, I thought, okay,
Right.
I'm already lost. This is bad. I'm not a programmer.
This will be. I mean, if you get this and you understand it, I think the rest of the class will be no problem. Maybe, I don't know.
I'll be fine.
Probably.
I find that getting started with things is sometimes hard because I just don't have enough of a basis. And I think that one problem is when people know it really well, these little tiny things that seem really obvious, they are not obvious to me. I really need to like sort of step through it. Once I get going, I'm usually fine because I sort of get the idea. And then I'm okay. Or I will ask questions. A lot of questions, I'm sorry.
That's great. I mean, yeah. I need people to come to this section and ask questions, so do that. Do you have any other questions? I think that covers the whole assignment. Do we have anything else coming up?
Do you have a preference to use Firefox and Firebug or to use Chrome and developer tools?
It is a personal preference. I use Chrome for almost everything, but I mean, there are some things that only Firefox can do. It's a toss-up. For the most part, I think for anything in this class, they can do the exact same things. Chrome with the developer tools and with the built-in developer tools, and Firefox with Firebug, there's nothing that you're going to miss from one or the other.
Since Firefox crashed after I put Firebug in it, then I use it. It's already not that Chrome hasn't crashed. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna mess up my computer now. I know if I decided to take a programming class, nothing will ever be the same, and I won't be able to figure out what I did, but it's okay. I can handle it. By the end of this class, right, I'll be able to know everything that I did, right?
All right, I'm going to turn off the recording if I can figure out how. I don't see all the options because the screen's so small. Seriously, that's great. Huh. Oh, you know what? There's a hotkey for it. Bye-bye.